Hello everyone and welcome back to another new ant keeping video. In this video, I will update you on my Monomorium ergtognya. While they were off the channel, they have called 2 more nests home after I moved them out of the mini hearth they were in last. The hearth they were in began to get very dirty, so I decided to move them. The reason why I got this way is mostly because of the Vaseline I used as a barrier. In the nest, the lid that was sent to me was very loose, so they could escape from it. I tried to use Fluon, and used it for a while, but they were consistently escaping every week, so I was forced to find another option. So I turned to Vaseline. This kept them from getting out, but the problem was they piled sand on the sticky Vaseline, making the sides of the nest very messy. It was also a huge pain to replace, so I ordered a new hearth with a tight lid. In the meantime, while waiting for the nest, I decided to move them in a small temporary nest, which would be too small for them as a permanent nest. The nest was simply a small plaster type nest. It had an outworld built in. After moving the ants in the temporary nest, I waited a bit and the hearth arrived. Then I moved them. The method I used was simply tapping the ants out into the outworld. To avoid escapees, I used a small container to put the new nest in, so some of the ants that got out would fall into the container. My plan worked, and as soon as I tapped the ants in, I noticed how many there were. There were more than I thought, as they were hard to see in the mini hearth, as they were bunched up in it. This was also a great time to get some good footage of the ants, since they weren't blocked by any glass. I took my footage, and as I was taking it, I noticed they wasted no time to move. They instantly noticed the darkness beneath them and decided to venture into the new world below them. Once they found this new home suitable, they decided to move their brood, queens, and workers in. I was very surprised how fast they moved, and only a few minutes after letting them explore the outworld, they found the nest suitable. You see, ants usually take at least a few hours to move, especially with smaller colonies. Their workers usually like to scout out the nest and be 100% sure that the nest is not dangerous to the rest of the colony. Ants are so smart, and they will even send the older workers to explore, because if they were to die, it would be less of a loss to the colony as a whole, since they were around much longer. Even though they want to make sure that the new space is safe, a lot of ants like to get their queen or queens safely because they don't want them to be exposed for too long. You see, without the queens in the colony, they would not be able to produce more workers to replace them. The queen or queens are the only reproductive caste of the colony. Workers are actually able to lay eggs, but they are infertile and mostly laid if food storage is short. It can be a suitable source of protein for the ants. Sometimes these eggs will go uneaten. These eggs will still hatch as males. Males or drones are useless to the colony itself, as they will not do any work for it. The drone's only purpose is to fly out during mating season and mate up with the reproductive queens. These males will basically just take up space and food until mating season. After they mate, their purpose is fulfilled and they die. Back to the colony. They have moved into the nest after 30 minutes. And if they produce males, they have a very special trait, and that is to inbreed. Inbreeding is quite rare in ants, but it can happen. It is still unexplained even to scientists, but when species like some Monomorium produce males and young queens, they can mate within the colony. The reason why this is so baffling is because the males and young queens are literally siblings. For some reason, there is a small difference biologically between them, which is why they can mate. Hence, inbreeding colonies can survive forever, and they can just keep inbreeding and make infinite queens if they wanted to. Without a shortage in queens, the colony will just keep pumping out workers. So I wonder if my colony will ever inbreed. They already have about 12 queens and maybe 600 workers, but maybe they can make even more. Imagine if I was able to own a colony with hundreds of thousands of workers and thousands of queens. It's very possible to happen, but a colony as big as that would be very hard to contain, which is why I am keeping their protein intake a little lower. Imagine that many ants. Even right now, it is a challenge to contain them, and with that many ants, you never know. Now, the ants are settled into their new mini hearth, and they are liking it so far. Hopefully, they don't trash things up as much as the other one. I don't think I have to use Vaseline this time, which is great because it's really a pain to clean. So far, they have also refrained from covering the viewing glass with sand, which is also great. They did this with their last nest, and it was almost impossible to get all of the colony on footage. They have been doing well in their new nest, growing fast as ever. Anyway, sorry it's been so long since a proper video, but that should do it for this video. I kind of rambled on about ant stuff, but let me know if you guys like that. Anyway, see you guys later, and until next time, peace out.